During the Cretaceous period, a group of amphibious reptilian carnivores known as snappers converge upon the carcass of a large dinosaur on a beach. Seconds later, a T-Rex charges and scares off the smaller creatures, who escape into the water or run to the forest. While the T-Rex feeds on a snapper, a Megalodon breaches the water and easily devours the dinosaur. In the present, Jonas Taylor burns a hole through the side of a shipping container, revealing that he's stowed away on a ship in the middle of the Philippine Sea. Meanwhile, the ship's captain orders his men to dump radioactive waste into the water. Jonas avoids detection and secretly takes pictures of the illegal activity. Then he heads to the captain's quarters to gather more evidence. However, one of the sailors catches him, so he fights his way through several men, but ends up cornered atop the shipping containers. To escape, the man dives into the water, and the captain informs him that they're not in a shipping lane, and the closest shore is 200 miles away. In the plane, Mac and Riga spot Jonas, and they perfectly execute their rescue plan of scooping the man in the hatch from the water. In the Oceanic Institute of Hainan, China, Curtis and Juming test the newest diving exosuit to make sure it's ready for the next expedition. Mei Ying, Juming's niece, interrupts to remind her uncle about the party later tonight. That evening at the party, Jonas points out a man whom he says looks familiar and untrustworthy. During the program, billionaire investor Driscoll, who funds Juming's Mana 1 expeditions, addresses the crowd and thanks all the investors. Then, the woman introduces Juming, the director of the Oceanic Institute. In his speech, the man shares that he took over the company to continue his deceased father and sister Su Yin's dream of exploring the unknown. Eventually, he points the crowd's attention to Haichi, the only known megalodon in captivity whom he's raised since she was a pup. He thanks the investors for their donations to the invention of state-of-the-art submersibles which will be able to pass through the thermocline, a layer of freezing cold water, and allow his team to explore the trench 20,000 feet below sea level. The next day, Mei Ying wonders why Jonas won't allow her to join the dive, and the man says it's because she's too young. Suddenly, Rigas informs them that Ju Ming is swimming with a megalodon. From the viewing room, the company director assures the team that he knows what he's doing. However, Jonas reminds him that the shark only sees him as food. Soon, the others bet on the outcome, and most predict that the creature attacks Ju Ming. The man clicks his device once to summon Haichi, and as the shark approaches, clicks it twice to tell her to go away, which the animal obeys. Seconds later, they inform Ju Ming that Haichi is swimming back around toward him. This time, the shark isn't slowing down, seemingly indifferent to his commands. Fortunately, the company director pulls his cord in time, and he evades Haichi's massive jaws. After the dive, Jonas admonishes Ju Ming for his reckless stunt, but the latter says it's no different than the former's dangerous battle against environmental crimes. In a private viewing room, Mei Ying calmly stares at Haichi through the window. The next day, the team flies to the Mana 1 Marine Research Center in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Meanwhile, Haichi rams through a metal grate in her enclosure and escapes. Later, the team prepares for their descent to explore Area 19 to gather rock samples and note any new animal species. The two submersibles set off on the voyage, with Jonas, Rigas, and Sal in one, and Juming, Curtis, and Lance in the other. Meanwhile, Max stays in the Mana 1 headquarters with Jess and DJ. As they near the thermocline, Mei Ying emerges from a compartment on the floor, revealing that she stowed away to join the dive, and packed herself an exosuit while they were having the pre-dive meeting. Annoyed, Jonas tells her to sit, then tightens her seatbelt. When he's about to admonish the teen for stowing away, Juming interrupts through the radio to inform them that their scanners detected something. Sal says that it's a megalodon that swam from the shore. The company director realizes that it's Haichi, and the group wonders why the shark escaped its enclosure. To evade the megalodon, they nosedive toward the thermocline, since animals tend to avoid the layer of freezing cold water. However, Haichi swims through the thermocline, determined to reach the trench. Suddenly, two male megalodon appear, and Jonas remarks that the alpha is the largest he's ever seen. Curious about the shark's destination, Juming changes course and tells Jonas to follow them. Jess says they're already off course and advises against heading into the unexplored sector, but Juming is persistent. On the ocean floor, the team sees Haichi and the two male sharks swimming in a circle and realize they instinctually return to the trench to reproduce. Suddenly, the scanners detect a large structure, and Juming wonders who has the technology to build and power such a thing. Then they detect another submarine right above them. In the other submarine, mercenary Montez tells his men through the radio to finish placing the explosives so they can mine the ridge. His radar spots the two submersibles, and when he zooms in, sees and recognizes Jonas. He informs his men that the Mana 1 team most likely saw their station, then arms the explosives, leaving his men to die. The explosion causes a landslide on the ridge, prompting the team to drive through the falling rocks to escape. The blast also punches a hole in the thermocline, causing a breach. However, Ju-Ming's submersible is buried under the rocks, cutting off their communication to headquarters. Mac tells Jess to prep the rescue vehicle immediately. In Jonas's submersible, they're able to fix the radio, and he informs Jonas that they'll need to be rescued. Unfortunately, Mac tells him the rescue sub is unusable, so Jonas decides they'll walk to the station they spotted earlier, even though his friend thinks their exosuits aren't designed for the 2-mile trek. Eventually, the team dons their suits and heads out into the Mariana Trench on foot. Minutes later, they come across Ju-Ming and the rest of the team, who also had the idea of walking to the station. During the journey, a lamprey-like creature wraps itself around Lance's helmet, and Curtis reminds him not to touch any animals. On Mana 1, Mac tasks DJ to scan the surveillance footage to find who sabotaged the rescue sub, and Jess to check all the personnel files for anything suspicious. Meanwhile, a giant octopus stalks and attacks Lance, and all the team finds is his helmet. In the submarine, Montez fixes communications and receives a video call from Driscoll, who's revealed to be the mastermind behind the rogue mining operation. She informs the mercenary that the Mana 1 team is still alive and on their way to the station, and emphasizes the importance of disposing of the entire group before they resurface and expose their illegal activities to the public. On Mana 1, DJ tells Mac that someone deleted all the surveillance footage, so the latter says he'll check the encrypted backup in the server room. At 1,300 feet from the station, a group of snappers attacks the group, and one bites and cracks Curtis' helmet. Ju-Ming lights a flare to scare off the creatures, but it attracts the Megalodon. Jonas takes the flare, attaches it to his spear gun, and shoots it onto a metal scaffolding. While the sharks are distracted, the group runs to the airlock. Ju-Ming tries to help Sal, whose oxygen is nearing 0%. Aware that she won't make it, she pushes the company director forward to save him, and the Megalodon devours her. Everyone manages to enter the airlock, but because the room doesn't depressurize on time, Curtis' helmet implodes, ending her life. Minutes later, the team explores the station, but finds that no one's there. In a room, they discover boxes of rare earth metals, which is what the divers who inhabited the station were mining. Ju-Ming says one box could be worth $1 billion, and Rigas deduces that they send up the metals inside buoy pods. After Mei Ying fixes communications, they inform headquarters that they lost Lance, Sal, and Curtis, and that they discovered an illegal mining operation. Jess says Mana 1 was infiltrated because someone sabotaged the rescue sub. She tells the team that there are emergency escape pods on the other end of the station, and Jonas says it'll be their way back to the surface. While walking across the station, Ju-Ming sees exosuits similar to the ones he's designed, and wonders how they were able to obtain them. In the room with the emergency escape pods, the door closes automatically, startling Rigas. Suddenly, Jess appears on a monitor and reveals that she was the mole on Mana 1 this whole time. She acknowledges that she had friends on the team, but the possibility of billions of dollars was too much to pass on. When the group refuses to cooperate, she releases one of the pods, since she has control of the station. Then she orders Rigas to shoot Jonas with a spear gun if she wants to save Mei Ying's life. The woman points the spear gun, but ultimately decides she can't take his life, so Jess releases the last pod, leaving the group with no means of escape. Seconds later, Jess calls Driscoll, who wishes to speak to the team. The mastermind explains that after their deaths, she'll continue using the Oceanic Institute as a cover-up for her illegal mining. After the furious Ju-Ming smashes the monitor, Driscoll orders Jess to flood the room to kill them all. To open the door from the other side, Jonas exits through the airlock, then swims to the one they used when they first entered the station. To survive the immense pressure, he pushes water through his sinuses, which gives him a minute before passing out. Eventually, he manages to enter through the airlock, but loses consciousness the moment the door closes. When he wakes up, Montez drags him further into the station. The man explains that it was Jonas who reported his ship and their illegal activities, which led to his imprisonment in Manila for 2 years. The two men get into a fight, and after he manages to knock Montez out, out, Jonas unlocks the door to the emergency escape pod room, saving his companions' lives. Meanwhile, mercenaries hired by Driscoll are on their way to Mana 1 for a takeover. In the server room, Max shows DJ a video of Jess disabling the rescue sub. In the station, Jonas says they'll use Montez's submarine to get back to the surface. To distract the Megalodon, Ju-Ming exits the vehicle to turn on the bright lights outside the station. He returns just in time, so they close the hatch and escape. Outside, the three sharks destroy the station, preoccupied with its blinding lights. As the submarine ascends, Jonas and Ju-Ming spot the thermocline breach. The company head says the hole will probably close in an hour and hopes the Megalodon won't follow them through it. Unbeknownst to them, a giant octopus swims through the breach. Concurrently, Montez, who's wearing an exosuit, releases a buoy pod and rides it back to the surface. Outside the server room, Jess orders Mac and DJ to surrender, so the men open the door, pepper spray the mercenaries, and tase Jess. When the submarine reaches Mana 1, the group learns that the mercenaries have already rounded up the workers. Jonas says he and Ju-Ming will try to find Mac and DJ, and tells Rigas and Mei Ying to find a boat they can use to escape. Concurrently, Montez finally floats back to the surface. Meanwhile, mercenaries intercept Mac and DJ, but the latter fights them off and the pair jump in the water. After swimming back to the station, DJ takes a gun from his backpack, but armed men catch the pair as they enter a door. In the hallway, Ju-Ming distracts the mercenaries so Jonas can attack them from behind, hence saving Mac and DJ. In the headquarters, Montez hugs and kisses Jess before informing her that Jonas is on Mana 1. The woman orders the mercenaries to find them. As the team prepares to leave on the boat, Mei Ying points out three large shark fins, revealing that all three Megalodon passed through the breach. One Megalodon swims right by the window, and Jess assures Driscoll that the glass is strong enough to keep the creature out. Suddenly, the shark crashes into the glass and snaps Jess up in its jaws. Montez manages to escape and close the door behind him, but he screams in anguish at the loss of his beloved. Meanwhile, the team boards the boat and plan on paddling slowly so as not to catch the shark's attention. Seconds later, the mercenaries follow the team on another boat, and as they're about to shoot, a shark breaches and swallows them whole. Montez informs Driscoll about the situation, and the woman tells him to follow the group. On the boat, Jonas takes the explosives he found in Montez's submarine and tapes them onto makeshift harpoons. Ju-Ming says they need to warn the people on the nearby resort, Fun Island, about the Megalodon. On Fun Island, the tourists wonder why a pod of dolphins is frantically swimming towards shore. A few miles from the resort, the giant octopus drags a party boat to the water with ease. In a clearing on the island, Driscoll arrives on a helicopter and tells Montez to dispose of the Mana 1 team. Finally, the group reaches the island and tells the tourists to get out of the water. In the forest, snappers attack the mercenaries, so Montez tells Driscoll to run back to the helicopter. On the shore, Jonas tells DJ and Rigas to find a way to call for help, since there's no cell phone service on the island. Then he orders Mei Ying to hide out in the lifeguard tower. In the water, the alpha Megalodon eats a couple on a paddle boat, while the beta feeds on the people near the beach. Seeing all the people at risk, Jonas suggests he, Ju-Ming, and Mac each take a makeshift explosive harpoon, lead a Megalodon away from the beach using a jet ski, and use the weapons to kill them. In the helicopter, a snapper snatches Driscoll and drags her to the forest. On the beach, the men realize there's only one jet ski left, so Jonas takes all the harpoons and says he'll do it himself. Ju-Ming tells Mac they need more firepower and says he has an idea. By the trees, Montez sees Jonas on the jet ski. Concurrently, Mac and Ju-Ming break into a storage room to find ammonium nitrate so they can make homemade explosives. Suddenly, the mercenaries take refuge from the snappers in the same storage room. They spot the pair and tell them to surrender. On the water, Jonas successfully leads the two male sharks away from the beach, but he falls off the jet ski. He gets back on the vehicle, and one shark narrowly misses him. Elsewhere, DJ finds a satellite phone in a deceased mercenary's pocket. As he and Rigas run away from a snapper, they hide in the same storage room, and the armed men have the four team members cornered. Ju-Ming sees the button for the roll-up door behind DJ, so he pokes the man's stomach, and when he stumbles back, accidentally presses the button. The snappers attack the armed men, and while they're distracted, the group escapes. Due to the mercenaries aimlessly firing, they hit a tank outside the building, causing it to explode. Rigas checks the satellite phone and sees she's got a signal, so Ju-Ming tells DJ to call for help while he and Max steal the helicopter. On the water, Jonas misses the alpha Megalodon with a harpoon, and after it breaches and creates a large wave, the man rides the water to toward the beta, whom he pierces with the exploding harpoon, ending its life. In the clearing, Ju-Ming distracts the snapper to lead it away from the helicopter. As it attacks him, he uses a shovel to kill it. However, more snappers are headed toward him, so he runs to the helicopter to join Mac. The vehicle is low on gas, so he connects the gas pump, but because it's still attached, the creatures continue attacking the helicopter. The company director falls off the hovering chopper, so he sprays the creatures with a flammable liquid. Mac grabs a flare gun and shoots the gas tank, and lights everything on fire just as Ju-Ming dives into the helicopter. At the resort, a giant octopus attacks the tourists, and Mei Ying sees a drowning woman in the water. On the water, Jonas is about to harpoon the alpha megalodon, but Montez, who's on a speedboat, shoots at him. On the helicopter, Ju-Ming creates an explosive with a thermos and the ammonium nitrate. Then, he spots his niece trying to save a drowning woman using a surfboard. Seconds later, he tells Mac to lower the chopper so he can save her, but her fingers narrowly miss his. The octopus tentacle grabs onto the helicopter, so Ju-Ming holds onto the explosive and jumps down to the wooden floating platform. Meanwhile, Mac loses control of the chopper, and it crashes into the water. The alpha megalodon continues pursuing Jonas onto a pier, and Montez sees that he's still alive. On the wooden platform, the octopus grabs Mei Ying, so her uncle stabs the tentacle with an umbrella, and it releases her. Concurrently, Jonas hides underneath the pier, then stabs Montez's leg with a wooden stake. He climbs onto the pier and manages to grab the firearm from the mercenary. When he sees the shark approaching, attracted to Montez's blood injury, he kicks the man off the pier, and the megalodon snatches him up in its jaws. On the wooden platform, a tentacle grabs Ju-Ming, and he yells at Mei Ying to toss him the explosive. The octopus drags him underwater, where he attaches the explosive to the blade and pierces it into the creature's head. The bomb explodes, severely injuring the octopus. However, it still grabs the man and pulls him down into the depths. Suddenly, Haichi appears and attacks the octopus, severing its limbs and biting its head. Ju-Ming spots an unconscious Mac in the sinking helicopter and swims toward him. Jonas sees the pair and swims in their direction. However, he spots the alpha megalodon, so he climbs up a small rocky protrusion on the water, picks up a helicopter rotor blade, and slams it on the water to catch the shark's attention. When the creature reaches to devour him, he holds up the rotor blade, effectively piercing through the megalodon's head, ending its life. On the beach, DJ and Rigas are helping the tourists out of the water. Suddenly, a snapper is about to attack, but the man shoots the creature while it's mid-air. In the water, Haichi swims toward the three men, but Ju-Ming assures Mac and Jonas that she'll follow his clicking commands. After he clicks his device twice, Haichi turns back around and the man swims to the surface, delighted that she followed him. However, Jonas is convinced she simply swam towards a nearby pod of dolphins. Finally, the group is reunited on the beach, and Jonas and Ju-Ming tell Mei Ying how proud they are of her. After the Coast Guard arrives, the team shares a celebratory drink and toast to their fallen comrades.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.